Lena had never seen the stars. Her alien eyes, pale and shimmering like frozen silver, were blind since birth. Yet in her darkness, she perceived the universe more vividly than most humans could with their sight. Every vibration in the air, every shift in temperature, every whisper of energy around her told stories that no one else could hear. Still, despite her gifts, Lena often felt isolated, caught between two worlds. She was human enough to walk among them, yet different enough to always be a stranger. Her mother, Saria, had never understood Lena's quiet, thoughtful nature. To Saria, life was about choices that could be measured, arranged, and controlled. And right now, Saria's choice had a name, Dalen. "Marry him," her mother insisted, voice sharp yet trembling with hope. "He is good. He will protect you. He will give you a proper life." Lena's heart tightened at the words. She knew her mother meant well, but something in her gut recoiled. She had never even met this man properly, only glimpsed his shadow at family gatherings. Her mother's insistence felt heavy, like a hand trying to mold her into someone she could never be. That evening, Lena wandered to the balcony of their high-rise apartment. The city stretched endlessly below, lights blinking like distant stars she could not see. She reached out, letting her fingers brush against the cold metal railing. The wind was cool against her face, carrying scents of wet asphalt, neon advertisements, and far-off flowers from the parks below. Lena breathed deeply. She could feel the pulse of the city, the rhythm of life that moved around her. But in that rhythm, she felt alone. Saria appeared behind her, silent but insistent. "Lena," she said softly, yet the firmness in her tone betrayed the urgency. "You are strong, clever, but life doesn't wait for those who linger too long. Dalen is good. He understands our people. He will make you happy." Lena shook her head, trying to dispel the tension rising in her chest. "I don't know him," she whispered. "How can you tell me to marry someone I've barely met?" Saria's eyes glistened with a mixture of frustration and fear. "Because, my daughter, the world is not gentle. People like us, people like you, cannot wait for love to find us. You have a gift, Lena, a power many cannot imagine. You need someone who will stand by you, who will understand, even if you cannot see them." Lena's fingers tightened around the railing. Her mother's words were meant to comfort, yet they felt like chains. Lena could sense her mother's love, but she could also sense the pressure, the expectation. She didn't want a life handed to her. She wanted a life she could choose, a life that felt real from the inside out, not just the outside in. That night, Lena sat by her small indoor garden, her fingers trailing across the leaves. She listened to the soft hum of the air purifier, the faint vibrations of the city through the walls, and the distant echo of her mother's footsteps. In the quiet, Lena felt the stirrings of a question she had never dared ask herself. Could she ever follow her own heart, even if it defied her mother's plans? As she leaned back, letting the darkness of her room envelop her, Lena realized that the path before her was uncertain, terrifyingly so. But in that uncertainty, there was a spark of possibility. Perhaps life could be more than a series of demands and expectations. Perhaps it could be something she discovered for herself. And though she had never seen the stars, Lena felt deep in her chest that they were waiting for her. The next morning, Lena rose with the soft hum of the city beneath her window. She could feel the sunlight through the thin curtains, warm against her face, though her eyes could not see it. The apartment was quiet, save for the faint vibrations of machinery and distant footsteps of early commuters. She moved carefully toward her small garden, her sanctuary, where rows of delicate alien and human plants thrived under her touch. As she sat cross-legged among the greenery, she noticed a presence she did not recognize. It was subtle, almost like a shift in the air, but Lena sensed it immediately. Someone was approaching her, someone who carried an energy both strong and cautious. Her fingers twitched nervously over the leaves. "Are you Lena?" a soft, measured voice asked. Lena's heart skipped a beat. The sound was unfamiliar, yet comforting in its steadiness. She could feel the warmth in his voice, the calm beneath it, and it drew her attention as nothing had before. "Yes," she said cautiously, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who are you?" "I'm Kale," he replied. "I've come from a colony far from here. We've heard about you and your abilities." His words were careful, respectful, not intrusive. Lena felt the honesty in him, as if the vibrations in the air carried his sincerity directly to her mind. Lena's fingers brushed the soil nervously. She had lived among humans her entire life, and while some had been kind, most had feared her difference. Kale, however, felt different. There was no judgment in his presence, only curiosity and respect. Why are you here?" Lena asked, her voice trembling slightly. She did not trust easily, not after years of subtle fear and misunderstanding from those around her. "Because I want to understand," Kale said simply. "I want to know what it is like to experience the world the way you do, to feel it, really feel it, not just see it. And if you'll let me, I want to learn from you." Lena's pulse quickened. She had never met anyone who approached her with such openness. People had always been cautious, afraid of her blindness, afraid of her alien heritage. Kale was neither. He simply existed beside her, patient and steady, letting her decide if she wanted him there. For a long moment, Lena sat in silence, listening to the rhythm of his breathing, the subtle shifts in the wind, the soft vibration of life around them. Then slowly she lifted her hands and allowed them to hover near his. She could feel his warmth, the faint pulse of his heartbeat, the rhythm of his life. There was something grounding in it, something she had never experienced before. "You don't feel like a threat," she admitted softly. "No," Kale said. "I'm not here to control you. I'm here to walk beside you if you allow it." Lena considered the words. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Marry him, Lena. He is perfect for you." But this man, Kale, was different. He was not a choice forced upon her. He was a presence she could feel, a life she could touch, a trust she could explore. Her heart fluttered with a strange excitement. For the first time, she felt curiosity rising above fear. She wanted to know more about him, to test the boundaries of her own abilities with someone who respected them, someone who could teach her that the world was larger, more connected than she had ever imagined. Kale smiled faintly. "Would you let me show you something?" "Yes," Lena whispered, a hint of anticipation in her voice. "Show me." And so, in the quiet morning garden, surrounded by leaves and the hum of the city, Lena's world began to shift. She felt the first spark of connection, not the arranged, pressured connection her mother demanded, but something new, something real, something that could change her life forever. Her mother's insistence, the weight of expectations, felt distant now. In its place was curiosity and an unexpected hope that perhaps Lena could find a path of her own choosing. The air pulsed with possibility, and Lena sensed, without seeing, that her life was about to open in ways she had never imagined. The morning air in the botanical garden was cool and alive, carrying 1,000 subtle scents and vibrations that Lena could feel through her sensitive skin. Kale walked beside her, careful to match her pace. He didn't talk much, letting her senses guide them through the winding paths lined with alien flora that glowed faintly in the filtered sunlight. Lena could feel the faint warmth of his presence, steady and reassuring, like a tether to the world around her. "You feel it, don't you?" Kale asked softly, stopping near a fountain that hummed with gentle vibrations. Lena tilted her head, curious. I feel it," she admitted, placing her hands above the water. The ripples were not just cold or wet. They carried stories, echoes of the air, of movement, of life itself. Lena could sense the energy of the garden, every pulse vibrating through her fingers, and Kale could feel it too. He smiled faintly, offering a small device from his pocket. "This is something I developed," he explained. "It translates energy into sound vibrations you can feel. I thought maybe you'd like to try." Lena's fingers hovered above the device, hesitant. When she finally touched it, vibrations ran through her hands like tiny rivers, shifting into patterns she could understand. Musical notes she had never heard became sensations she could feel in her bones. Her lips curved into a small smile, a soundless laugh of delight escaping her. She felt free in a way she had never allowed herself to feel with anyone. "You can make the world sing," Kale said quietly, watching her closely. "I've never met anyone who experiences life the way you do." Lena's heart swelled. In his words there was no pity, no fear, only admiration. For so long, humans had treated her differently, as fragile as other. But Kale treated her as equal, more than equal. He treated her as someone extraordinary. "I never thought someone could reach me like this," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. She could feel the truth of it resonating through her, echoing through her chest. Kale took a careful step closer, not invading, just close enough for her to sense him completely. "I don't want to change you, Lena. I just want to understand you." Her mind swirled with a mix of wonder and fear. She had always been cautious, always aware of how dangerous trust could be, but something about Kale made the idea of trust possible. It felt safe, honest, real. For a moment, silence enveloped them, filled only by the hum of the garden and the soft vibrations of the device. Lena felt a connection that went beyond sight, beyond words. She felt it in the energy between them, a quiet, growing bond that pulsed through the air. Then, unexpectedly, a sharp vibration ran through the ground beneath them. Lena froze, her fingers tensed on the device. Something was moving outside the garden, something wrong. Kale noticed instantly. "Stay close," he whispered. His hand brushed hers, and she felt the steady, grounding pulse of his heartbeat. Lena realized then that she didn't feel fear as strongly with him beside her. She felt alert, yes, aware, but not paralyzed. They moved together toward a safer path through the garden, following the subtle tremors beneath their feet. Lena's senses guided them, Kale matching her steps exactly. For the first time in her life, she felt completely understood, completely supported. By the time they reached a secluded area where the vibrations softened, Lena exhaled, her hands trembling slightly. You make me feel safe," she admitted. Kale's voice was soft, almost reverent. "And you've taught me to feel the world in ways I never imagined." For Lena, the realization was breathtaking. She had spent her life navigating darkness and isolation, but now, in the presence of someone who truly listened to her world, she understood that connection didn't require sight. It required empathy, patience, and courage. And as she felt the quiet energy between them, she began to understand something even more profound. Maybe this was the first time she had chosen something for herself. The garden hummed around them, alive with sound, light, and vibrations, and for the first time, Lena felt that the world was not only full of danger but full of possibility. The evening settled over the city like a quiet shroud, but Lena could feel the tension building in the air. The vibrations beneath her feet were faint at first, almost like whispers, but steadily growing sharper, faster. Something approached, something unfamiliar, dangerous. Her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from the awareness that the world had shifted in a way she had never sensed before. Kale was at her side immediately. He had sensed it too, his presence steadying her as he assessed the situation. "They're here," he whispered. "Some kind of drones. They're looking for you." Lena froze. Her mind raced, picking up subtle hints in the air. The faint hum of mechanical movement, the cold energy emanating from the devices, the way the vibrations bounced off nearby buildings. They were precise, silent, and relentless. These were not ordinary humans. They wanted something from her, her abilities perhaps, or knowledge that she carried unknowingly. "They think your abilities can be used," Kale said, voice low but firm. "You're a target." Lena felt a surge of anger and fear intertwining. For so long, humans had underestimated her, feared her, or tried to manipulate her. Now the danger was real and she could no longer hide. She clenched her hands, feeling the pulse of the city beneath her fingers, the rhythm of life that she could sense better than anyone else. This was her world, and no one would control it without her consent. Kale guided her through the side streets, keeping low and moving with careful precision. "You can guide us," he said quietly. "Your senses, they can help us avoid them." Yes, Lena breathed. Her fingers brushed the walls, the air, the vibrations of life around her. She felt the drone's path before she could see or hear it. With each step, she predicted the movement of their pursuers, rerouting their path with a subtle shift in her stride, a careful turn of a corner, a pause in the rhythm of their movement. The city's hum became a map in her mind, every vibration a hint, every whisper a warning. Kale followed her guidance, trusting her instincts without hesitation. Together, they moved like a single entity, human and alien, navigating a web of danger that would have overwhelmed ordinary people. Then one drone emitted a high-pitched signal, a pulse that felt like it could penetrate bone. Lena recoiled, clutching her head, but Kale's hand steadied her. "Focus on the patterns," he urged. "You can read it, don't let it control you." Slowly, Lena's mind synchronized with the vibrations, breaking down the drone's signal into pulses she could understand. She led Kale through narrow alleyways and under bridges, weaving a path that the drones couldn't predict. Every movement felt like a test, every step a dance with danger, but Lena felt alive in a way she had never imagined. Her blindness, her alien perception, was not a limitation, it was her greatest strength. Finally, they reached a hidden park, a small sanctuary tucked between towering buildings. The drones paused at the edge, scanning, but could not penetrate the natural shield of energy Lena could sense. She exhaled, shaking with adrenaline, her hands trembling as they touched the soft grass. Kale looked at her with awe, his eyes reflecting a mixture of fear, admiration, and something deeper. "You're incredible," he said softly. "I've never seen anything like this. You're beyond human." Lena's chest swelled with conflicting emotions. Pride, fear, exhilaration, it was overwhelming. But beneath it all, a quiet, fierce determination settled in her heart. She realized that danger would come, again and again, but she had the power to face it. She had the knowledge, the senses, and now, someone she could trust to stand beside her. For the first time, Lena understood that life wasn't about escaping fear. It was about embracing it and using it to shape your own destiny. And as she felt the quiet hum of the city around them, Lena knew that she had begun to change. She would no longer be someone to be controlled. She would fight for her own life, and for the life she chose to live. The night air was heavy with tension, yet filled with possibility. Lena and Kale moved silently through the empty streets, the faint vibrations of distant drones still lingering in the air like warnings. Lena's senses were sharpened, attuned to every tremor, every whisper, every subtle change in the rhythm of the city. She led Kale, feeling the invisible map of streets, walls, and alleyways in her mind. "Stay close," Lena murmured, her voice steady but soft. Her hands brushed lightly against Kale's arm, transmitting subtle cues she knew he could feel. Kale trusted her implicitly, following each movement without hesitation. Together, they were a single entity, navigating a world that most humans could not even imagine. At one intersection, Lena froze, sensing the drones closing in from multiple directions. Her heart pounded, but she did not panic. Instead, she closed her eyes, letting the vibrations guide her. She felt the precise patterns of the drones' movements, the subtle differences in air pressure that revealed their location. "Here," she whispered, taking a sharp turn down a narrow passage hidden behind a collapsed storefront. Kale followed instantly. The shadows of the city swallowed them, but Lena's senses illuminated the path like a beacon. She could feel every surface, every obstacle, every threat. As they moved, Kale spoke quietly, almost reverently. How do you do this? How can you sense everything?" Lena allowed herself a small smile, though her focus never wavered. "I have to. I've lived in darkness all my life. I can't see, so I feel everything else. Every movement, every vibration, every change. It's not perfect, but it's enough." Kale's hand brushed hers, and she felt the warmth of his pulse, steady and grounding. "You're amazing," he said softly. "I've never met anyone like you. You understand life in a way I can't even describe." The praise stirred something inside her, a mixture of pride and vulnerability. For so long, Lena had been alone, cautious, careful not to trust anyone. But Kale had entered her world without fear or expectation, simply willing to walk beside her. And now, facing danger together, that trust felt stronger than ever. They reached an old subway station, long abandoned and hidden beneath the city streets. Lena sensed the faint, residual energy of past vibrations and used it to guide them through the twisting tunnels. The drones above were relentless, but Lena could feel when they paused, when they moved, and when their patterns changed. Suddenly, a loud metallic clatter echoed down the tunnel. Lena's heart leapt and she froze, sensing the approaching threat. Kale's hand found hers instantly. "We can do this," he whispered, steadying her. Together, they moved with precision, avoiding the drone patrols, slipping through shadows, and navigating obstacles that would have trapped anyone else. Each moment was a test, each step a demonstration of Lena's unique abilities. And with Kale beside her, she felt something she had never felt before: the exhilaration of being understood, of being valued for who she truly was. Finally, they emerged in a quiet, hidden park at the edge of the city. The cool night air washed over them, carrying the faint scent of grass and trees. Lena exhaled, trembling slightly from adrenaline and relief. She had guided them through danger, had survived, and had done it with someone she trusted by her side. Kale looked at her, his eyes reflecting awe and admiration. "You're incredible," he said softly. "Not just for what you can do, for who you are. You're fearless, Lena." For the first time in her life, Lena felt the full weight of possibility. She was not a victim, nor was she bound by anyone's expectations. With her senses, her abilities, and someone who truly believed in her, she could face the unknown. And as the stars, though invisible to her, shimmered faintly above, Lena realized something extraordinary. She was not just surviving, she was beginning to live. The hidden park was quiet, bathed in soft moonlight. Lena's breathing slowed, but her mind raced. The night's chase had left her exhausted, yet exhilarated. Every vibration she felt pulsed with life, and for the first time, Lena truly sensed the vastness of the world around her. It was alive, vibrant, dangerous, and yet full of possibilities she had never dared to imagine. Kale knelt beside her, his presence grounding her. "You did amazing tonight," he said softly. "I don't think anyone could have done what you just did." Lena's fingers brushed the soft grass, feeling its texture, its life. "I didn't just do it," she murmured. "I felt it. I felt every path, every movement, everything. That's how I knew where to go." Kale nodded, awed. "I see that now. You perceive things in ways I can't even comprehend. You're extraordinary, Lena." Her chest swelled at his words. For so long she had doubted herself, believed her blindness was a limitation. But tonight she had seen more than anyone else ever could, through touch, through vibration, through connection. And now, with Kale beside her, she began to understand that she was not just extraordinary, she was powerful. Suddenly, a strange hum echoed through the park. Lena's fingers twitched instinctively, sensing energy that was unfamiliar. She paused, focusing on the vibrations. Her heart skipped a beat as a revelation washed over her. The drones weren't just mechanical. They were drawn to something inside her, something she hadn't understood until now. I think they're after my abilities," she whispered. "Not just because I'm me, but because I can sense energy, control it, guide it." Her voice trembled with a mixture of fear and awe. "I can feel patterns, vibrations, flows of life that no one else can. I didn't know it was this strong." Kale's hand found hers, steadying her. "You've always had this power, Lena, but now we see its full reach. You're not just extraordinary, you're unique in ways that could change everything." Her pulse quickened. She imagined the possibilities, helping people, guiding them, protecting them from threats they couldn't even sense. She imagined using her abilities to navigate dangers, to outsmart the drones that sought her, to make a difference in ways no one else could. And then beneath that exhilaration came a pang of responsibility. If her power was this strong, it would draw more attention, more danger, more choices she could not avoid. Lena closed her eyes, letting the energy of the park wash over her. She could feel the subtle rhythms of life around her, the soft hum of insects, the gentle sway of leaves, the distant vibrations of the city beyond. And within all that, she felt Kale's presence, steady and warm, a reminder that she was not alone. "You're not just surviving anymore," Kale said quietly. "You're discovering who you are and what you can do." Lena opened her eyes, or rather, she opened her awareness to the world around her. She could feel the invisible currents of energy stretching out, connecting her to everything. She understood now that she could guide, protect, even heal in ways she had never imagined. Her blindness was not a weakness. It was a gift, a way to perceive truths that others could never see. A quiet smile spread across her face. I think I understand now," she whispered. "I'm not just someone to be protected. I'm capable. I can make choices. I can shape the world around me." Kale squeezed her hand, sharing her joy and awe. "Then let's shape it together," he said, his voice full of hope. For the first time, Lena felt a deep, unshakable certainty. She was no longer just a girl living under her mother's expectations. She was someone powerful, someone capable, someone who could choose her own path. And as she felt the hum of life beneath her fingertips, she knew that her story was only just beginning. The stars above, though invisible to her eyes, seemed to shine brighter than ever. Lena had discovered herself, and in doing so she had discovered a universe full of possibilities waiting to be shaped by her hands. The dawn was soft, gentle, and unfamiliar. Lena could feel the warmth of the sun against her skin, though her eyes could not see it. The vibrations of the city had shifted, calmer now, as if the world was holding its breath. She and Kale stood at the edge of the hidden park, hands entwined, facing the unknown that lay before them. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. "Marry him, Lena. He will protect you. He will make you safe." Lena had once believed she had to follow that path, that the world was too dangerous to navigate on her own. But now, after nights of danger, discovery, and awakening, she knew that the life she wanted could not be chosen by anyone else, not even her mother. Kale squeezed her hand gently. "Whatever happens next," he said softly, "we face it together. You don't have to do anything alone." His presence was steady, a rhythm she could rely on, a tether to the world she had learned to sense. Lena took a deep breath. The energy around her hummed, alive and vibrant, carrying echoes of the city, the park, and even the distant stars. She could feel the currents of possibility stretching endlessly in every direction. For the first time, she understood something profound. Her blindness was not a limitation. Her difference, her unique perception of the world, was her strength. "I don't want a life chosen for me," she whispered, her voice steady, full of conviction. "Not by fear, not by rules, not by anyone else. I choose my life. I choose him. Not because it's safe, but because it's real, because I feel it." Kale's fingers tightened around hers. "Then we'll make it real together." The hidden danger that had stalked them the night before was still out there, but Lena no longer felt fear as she had once known it. She could sense the patterns of life around her, anticipate movements, and navigate through uncertainty with clarity. The world was no longer a trap, it was a canvas. And for the first time, she felt she had the power to paint her own path. Her mother arrived, breathless and anxious, having followed the subtle traces of energy that Lena's abilities left behind. "Lena," she said, her voice trembling. I don't understand, I thought." Lena stepped closer to her mother, hands still entwined with Kale's. "I understand more than I ever did," she said softly. "I understand myself, and I understand that my life isn't yours to command. I can feel the universe in ways you cannot, and I choose my path. I choose someone who respects me, who sees me, even when I cannot see him. I choose my own destiny." Her mother's eyes shimmered with tears. For the first time, she saw her daughter not as fragile or incomplete, but as powerful, capable, and fully alive. Slowly she nodded, a mixture of pride and understanding washing over her features. "Then I support you," she whispered. Lena turned to Kale, feeling the warmth of his pulse against her own. Together, they stepped forward into the city beyond the park, a world full of unseen dangers, unexplored places, and infinite possibilities. Every vibration beneath her fingers, every subtle shift in the air, guided her with confidence. She was no longer a girl living in the shadows of expectation. She was a force of her own making. And as the sun rose higher, warming the air and stirring the hum of life around them, Lena realized something extraordinary. Love, courage, and trust were not about following orders or choosing safety. They were about choosing each other, about creating a reality where strength and connection could coexist. She squeezed Kale's hand and whispered, "Let's go together." Kale smiled and they stepped forward side by side. The city stretched out before them, vast and unknowable, yet filled with energy Lena could perceive, guide, and shape. She had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and now she faced life itself with open senses, open heart, and unshakable resolve. For Lena, the journey had begun not with sight but with trust, not with obedience but with choice. And as she felt the world pulse beneath her fingers, she knew one thing for certain: she would never be controlled again. She was free. She was powerful. She was alive. The stars, though invisible to her eyes, seemed closer than ever. And Lena smiled, not just at the sky, but at the life she had claimed for herself.